And welcome back to Get Up and Scale podcast. It's Justin, Buzzi, and Brett today, and we're talking marketing, man. How are you doing?
Good, man. I think we're officially calling this season 2 because we took a little bit of a summer break, I guess you could say, for about a month, but I'm excited to get back to it. Kai is deep in work, so we've got just Brett and I today going through some marketing stuff. So I'm excited to learn from Brett a whole lot about social media ads and everything meta, Facebook, Instagram ads, what's happening in there, how do we set up our ads, how do we do all of these things, right? And
Yeah, and it's funny you mentioned Kai's in deep work. He actually read Deep Work by Cal Newport, and ever since he's been locked in.
He's just grinding. So we're missing Kai today, but I'm sure he'll be back on the next episode. And we're working on getting a lot of guests secured and getting back in our once a week schedule so that we can keep you guys in touch with the latest and greatest in our worlds.
I gotta work, grind. That's just the way it is. I gotta get up, scale, and grow my biz. I gotta scale, grow, get up, go, scale, grow, get up, go.
I think we just start off, we'll get right into it, Justin, with what we were just talking about is one of the biggest myths in paid social media marketing, and that is the myth of I'm boosting my posts, so I am running social ads.
Yeah.
And while that to a degree is true, it is definitely not something you want to rely on. Traditionally Meta has found a way to nickel and dime you for attention, and if they're going to send you business, they're going to get paid for it. And they make boosting a post as easy as possible, and that you're missing out on a lot.
It's kind of like throwing too wide of a net. I feel like there's not much targeting involved with it. There's really not a whole lot that goes along with it, other than just saying, yes, I want my post to be seen by more people. Here's my money.
That's exactly what boosting a post is a very low-hanging fruit way to give them money, and you're not going to see the results. So what you're missing out on with boosting a post is getting very granular with the targeting, getting very granular with the audiences and the creatives and all the other building blocks, which we're about to get into, for an ad. And that leads us to Meta, like the Meta ad panel, the TikTok ad panel, the Snap ad panel, if you will. These are the types of things that when you pay like a professional marketing agency or a freelancer, they are, let's talk about what an ad panel is for those wondering. Justin, how would you describe it? You're familiar.
Yeah, are you talking just like going into the back end of, like Facebook, Instagram ads and, the ads manager?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's just going to be your dashboard for everything ad related, your performance, where you set up and create these ads, and where you manage all these ads. And it's a place that I personally wish I spent more time in because it can be pretty overwhelming. I will say the back end of like Facebook, Instagram ads is sometimes challenging, right? And I think we get into it and then we're like, whoa, there's way too many options and things. And it gets overwhelming, honestly. And I have an above average perspective of paid ads on socials, and it's still overwhelming for me. So I can imagine a lot of people that are just starting out into advertising. It's super overwhelming for them. So hopefully we can give you guys just a couple like easy pointers that will guide you in the right direction on what a good social ad looks like.
Yeah, absolutely. The way I'd look at it is, when you work the ad panel like fiddle, it's an extremely powerful tool. It essentially is boosting a post on steroids, where you get to adjust all of the building blocks of an ad. So let's go over what an ad consists of. This applies to Meta, which of course is Instagram and Facebook. It also applies to other social platforms. The first building block of any ad is a who. Who are you showing it to? This can be interests, like people with a birthday coming up. It could be age, gender. It could be someone on your email list or someone that's been to your website. It could be, a few hundred people specifically. Then we go to the what. What are you showing them? Is it a picture, video, short story, poem? People get we've all seen ads that get creative.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
And a lot of people will call that the creative. Like the what is the creative. Yeah.
Yes, the what. And then there's the when. Are you showing it to them every day? Every Monday? Every day for the next 5 days? Or are you scheduling it out for later this year? You want them to see something after Labor Day weekend. And then it's the where. Where are they seeing it? Facebook feed, Instagram feed, or is it on the Explore page? Is it in Google search, YouTube ads, stuff like that. So the who, what, when, and where.
Yep.
And
the why is hopefully to get more bookings, right? I mean, to sell the product. That's the why.
The why is we're getting the word out there. Exactly.
Yep.
And when, this is like a game of chess where each of these, building blocks has a ton of variations on what you can do, what you can say, and that perfect variation of the who, what, when, and where might it's going to take a while for you to find out, but when you do, that's the marketing secret sauce that's been discovered. Like we have it, Justin has it. A lot of, if you spend a year or so on paid ads, you're going to start to see what works, and that's where you can start to create the funnel.
And also, like, part of this is you need to understand your customers too. So like you need to be getting as much information from your customers as you possibly can, whether that's, in the checkout process, whether that's in the check-in process when they arrive on site. Like, no matter what your business is, you want to be capturing as much of the customer information as you possibly can, so that you can then reuse that information to make your ads better and more efficient and create lookalike audiences and all of these extra things that you can do in there. And so like one important thing for me even is just like the zip code is a really important one. I want to know where my customers are coming from so that I can figure out where my biggest like bunches of these customers are booking from. And then I can target those areas and market more there or less or whatever, like maybe I was marketing way too far away. And then I realized, oh, the actual people that have booked are only 10 miles and I was marketing like 50 miles away. Like that makes a big difference, and you can really save your ad spend and not target that 50 miles away, right? And then just target that 10 miles. So I think like the big step one for me is getting good information about your current customers and past customers, and then using that information to build these ads.
Yeah, no, Justin, you hit the nail on the head. A lot of you might be trying to jump the gun and go into Facebook ad, get Facebook ads going and stuff, and as you should. But if you go in without a customer profile, whether that's mentally or written down, preferably, you're gonna get distracted. Facebook's gonna, show you interest, and you're gonna assume things that you may not want to assume. Mm-hmm. So for those out there really just getting started and trying to start off on the right foot, there's a book called The One-Page Marketing Plan, and that is by Alan Dibb, I believe. And that was the start of. We read that, I think, like right as COVID was hitting. We had some time on our hands, so we dove in and prepared. And that customer profile still is like used in making our ads to this day.
Yeah. And your customer profile can change over time, which I think is important too. Like,
absolutely.
Not only that, but you may have 10 different customer profiles that you want to target. And I think that's the cool thing about advertising is if you want to target corporate groups, that's going to look a whole lot different than if you want to target families. And so just knowing the differences of your cohorts and your different, customer profiles is going to be super important when you're setting these up.
Absolutely. So now we kind of know what we want to do. We want to fire up social ads, and we kind of know who we want to hit. So write down the basics: where, who. Go to your waiver data, just run some numbers, pull up an Excel sheet, and spend an hour really thinking before you go in and whether hire someone or do it yourself. And then that's really all you need. Then comes the part where having experience with the tool matters a lot, which is where most people would hire a freelancer or agency. But you can get away with running something basic yourself. Justin, would you agree? Is that worth it? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look, I think paid advertising, whether it's social, Google, whatever, I think it's really important that you have a above average understanding on it, even if you're not the one creating the ads and maintaining them. It should be important for you to understand how to do that and these exact things that we're talking about, so that you can ask the right questions to the person or firm that is maintaining and creating your ads. If they're not asking you about your customer profiles, right, that would be a red flag. If they're not asking you about geography of where you should be targeting, that would be a red flag. Like, if you don't know these things, you just assume that, oh, they're doing the best thing possible for me. They know my business so well, and assuming is worst case scenario here with paid ads. You're just going to lose a lot of money. So, like, to Brett's point, I don't think that you need to necessarily be the one doing it, but I do think you need to have a good enough understanding of it to ask the right questions and know what to look for and know the questions to ask the person that is doing it. That's really the biggest thing, is if you know enough to understand when they're not asking the right questions or when they're setting things up in a weird way, that'll just save you so much money. So go through the process, learn it, try to understand it to the best of your ability. And then, if you want to hire someone, sure, do it. But make sure you have a good understanding of it yourself, because it's going to be really, really helpful in saving a lot of money.
General awareness versus retargeting. You got to know these terms going into the ad creation process. You're either going to be running an ad to someone who doesn't really know you exist or hasn't seen you in a while, and that is general awareness.
Or it's called prospecting.
Prospecting.
Yeah, you may hear both of those terms.
Yep. And that's where a decent chunk of your ad spend is going to go. And then the other flip side of the coin, which is, very rewarding, but also more difficult, which is retargeting. This is the way I describe it is, if you've been to Amazon and looked at a product and then you've been followed around by ads for a month, that is essentially what you'll be doing, or you'll want your customers to experience for your product or service, especially in the experience industry.
Yeah. So what do you think is like a good breakdown of, hey, I should be spending this % on the prospecting and this % on the retargeting?
That is such a good question.
And I'm sure it's different for everyone, right? But like,
it really depends on the audience size of the retargeting.
Okay.
And without getting too into the weeds, the one metric I look at is frequency. So when I run a retargeting campaign, I want the frequency to be at least 10 over the course of a month. Like, if someone doesn't see us 10 times in a month, then that's not really retargeting. That's just like reminding them once or twice. So if you have an audience of 500 people, then to get a frequency of 10 may only cost, $10 a day. But if you have 10,000 people, and to get a frequency of 10 is going to cost a lot more. So I would say minimum of $10 a day on retargeting, but your prospecting, you can spend as much as you want.
Yeah. I mean, it comes down to like how much you're willing to spend. But let's say someone has $100 a day,
and they're starting from scratch.
Starting from the beginning, you've got $100 a day. Their business is already existing, right? Like, They have
Oh, yeah.
customer information. They have some retargeting data. Like $100 a day. Are you spending $50 a day on prospecting and 50 on retargeting?
Assuming that your pixels have been set up, so you have to wait a little bit, then yeah, no, I'm spending $10 a day on retargeting and $90 a
Most
day
of
on
it.
prospecting.
Okay. Yeah, so I think that's the important thing here is like
Yeah.
most of your ad spend is going to go towards that prospecting. And I think it's important too. Like I had a Zoom call with Damon John through the Gary Vee program that I'm part of, and he was saying that it's like 25 times more expensive to obtain new customers than it is to retain your current customers. And so that's in my head where I'm like, yeah, you do need to spend more to get new customers. And we kind of always need new customers in our industry because a lot of people are traveling in and out of market, and it's not just locals that are continuously doing this activity over and over and over again. Yeah, there are a few that do that and come out every time family's in town and whatever, and you want to remind those people about us. But you are going to be spending a good amount of your money on just prospecting and just finding new customers. And I think that's a big key here is figuring out, one, what can you afford on your ad spend, and two, how much you allocate to each, and then over time as you get more customers in that retargeting flow, like maybe try changing it to 80-20 and see what happens. Like make a change. Write down the date that you made the change and give it like 2 weeks, and then see what happened over that 2-week period and see how the performance was, and obviously like a whole other thing we could go down a rabbit hole into is the conversion metrics and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I'll just say this, it's the most important thing to have your conversions set up accurately, or else you're going to be just spending money without knowing what's happening. So that's really like, if you don't have that set up, you're just wasting money.
Absolutely. And it's not just for you to know, it's for Facebook to know too.
Yeah.
These platforms learn from the information you give it. If they don't know it, then they're just going to keep blind firing and guessing who's purchasing.
And they want you to spend more money in their platform, so they want you to get conversions. Like I think people assume that, like, I hear this a lot around Google, like they don't want me to get conversions, and I'm like, yes, they do. They make more money if you're converting on there. They make more money because you're gonna want to spend more money. So like, I don't know. It's so funny that people think like these platforms are out to get them. I'm like, no, they do want to help you. They just need really good information to be able to do that.
Yes. Yeah. No, absolutely. So get your conversion tracking set up. Now, regardless if you're going to run the ads yourself or not, you probably are going to want to bring in some help. Your booking system, knowledge base article is where you're going to want to start. Just go to the help article. Like we have Zola, I think, Justin's at Peak and
Fair Harbor. Come on now.
At Fair Harbor. Come on. I'm not sorry to put you in that bucket.
I'm not a peaker.
Yeah. But just go there and look up Facebook and then start from there. And, we might have to pay someone to do it. But get that set up. And then finally, it's, get some boots on the ground and focus on your creative. My rule of thumb is your ad is only as good as the what you're showing them. That video, that picture, that caption. Yeah. Without that being dialed in, all of the targeting and conversion tracking in the world is not going to make up for it. So Justin is our resident creative expert on the call. Justin makes some incredible creative, both organically and obviously for paid. So Justin, a lot of these people probably have Instagram accounts, a lot of our listeners. Could you talk a little bit about how you choose organic content to use in paid? Like what you kind of look for? Because that's an easy way to get started, probably.
Yeah. This to Brett's point is probably like the most important thing in your entire ad setup process. For us, like we are lucky enough to have a very visual friendly activity, and we're also lucky enough to go viral many, many, many times. So we have a lot of analytics and data around, like
give me some numbers,
creative.
Justin. Just humor me. Like what is it this year? Like, what's a metric that you had lately?
Yeah, I haven't. So I need to put all of our accounts into one bucket and do that. I need to do that again. But just on our main accounts, we've had like over 120 million views this year. So we have a lot
Wow.
of data, and that's organically, right? And so we have a lot of data on what posts seemingly outperform the others. And the cool thing is nowadays, like social media is the cream will rise to the top. Like if your content is good, it's going to be shown to a good amount of people. And so thankfully, like we know what our quote unquote good content is because the metrics are telling us, hey, this video way outperformed all of the rest of them, or these 5 videos all had over 1 million views. So like you should be taking your best performing organic videos and just retweaking them for the ad platform.
Absolutely.
Because the organic side of things already knows these are performing well, which means they should perform well again as an ad. As more people see them, they're going to want to interact with them, share them, comment on them, which then just helps your ad overall. But yeah, so that's what we do really is like I'll filter down to like our top 10 videos in the last whatever date range, let's say 90 days. And I'll see, oh, we've got this one video of a manatee doing this one thing up next to a clear kayak. You can see the kayak in it. You can see happy customers. Let's pull that and reuse that as some sort of ad creative. And that's step one. Step two is like, okay, now what do you put text on the video? Do you use the original audio? What do you use as the caption? What do you use as the title? What does your landing page look like, right? There's a whole lot of extra things after this, but really it's just pulling the top creative and then tweaking it to be more of an ad, a heavy hitting piece of content rather than just a cute video that's on the internet, right? Like we want this piece of content to actually sell tours. So how do you word that in a way that will entice people to click on the ad, come to the website and actually book a tour? But that's where you should start. Like just look backwards at your last 90 days or even the last year of content that you've posted and filter by like most impressions to, or most reach to least reach. I think now they changed the term to just reach, and pull the top few and like figure out how you make that into an ad. And maybe it's like combining like 2 or 3 of those videos together. So now instead of like 3 5-second videos, you've got like a 15-second ad. There's a whole lot of different ways to do things here, and this is where you can go crazy is with the creative. But I think it's cool because in the ad platforms, like in the back end of Meta ads, you can upload different creatives and it will A/B test them. And then eventually you could say, hey, this creative is working so much better than the rest of my creatives. Let's like turn off all the other ones because they're not working as well. And let's just like increase the ad spend on this one because it's really, really working. So that's where I think people need to spend some time. I think right now, like especially in our industry, a lot of people just take the organic content and throw it on paid ad and they say, come do our tour. And that's like the extent of how much they've tweaked their content, you know, but really there's some steps in between that are super important for you to make some good heavy hitting creative for that ad.
No, absolutely. We're gonna get your best creative that you have so far, and you're gonna start putting money behind it, and we're gonna get some more sales, and that's about all we've got on paid ads. That's your social media paid ads 101 class.
Right at the buzzer.
That's
good timing.
That's the Facebook rep calling me as well.
Perfect.
Yeah, but yeah, no, and that's one quick thing. Your Facebook and Google reps, they will call you and take what they say with a grain of salt, but they are trying to help. They're also trying to help you spend more money. So the rule of thumb is take their tips and advice on conversions and targeting, but don't necessarily take their budget change ideas until you start to see an improvement on that other front.
Yeah. And just so people know, like baseline, I think results are really important on this to kind of wrap this up. Like what should people be looking for when it comes to like cost per click or conversion, or like, do you have any information on what a good ad result looks like for you.
Yeah, all the metrics we're just comparing against other platforms and the other ones in the ad panel, except for purchase, return on ad spend. So we don't want to spend $1 unless it makes 3.
Okay.
So
you're looking for at least 3x on your social ad conversions.
And that's tracked. And we have, we do have evidence that when we track 3x, the results are actually a little bit better because people will purchase based on an ad that may not have been tracked. 'Cause you can't track everything.
Yeah, they click on the ad, they come to the website, they leave, they close their browser, then they go to their phone, right? And then they research.
Or their friend ends up looking or whatever. But like we'll just, for instance, have a code in a Facebook ad, and it's the only place that code exists, and it might have $10,000 worth of revenue, and we only spent $1,000 on ad spend, and it says we got $3,000 conversion. So it's obvious that was attributed to that campaign. So. Just do your best, and other than that, just keep your numbers, keep messing around till your numbers get low. So.
What's a good CPC? Cost per click on social ads
on
only.
Meta social ads, a good cost per click honestly is like 10 cents or 20
That's
cents.
what I was gonna
max.
say. Yeah, 10 to 20 cents.
But I will say, they can be really sneaky. Definitely check out your cost per landing page view. Those are 2 very different things, and I talk about this with a franchisee actually a lot right now. A click just means they clicked on the ad. They hit the more button. They opened the comments. They hovered over a picture. But a landing page view is what they consider someone that goes to the website.
Okay, so important to know the difference between those 2.
Yeah, and if you enjoyed this episode, let us know. We could do a whole episode on we call those metrics. We go over all the metrics that Justin looks at, the ones I look at, why we like them, why we don't, and go from there. But if you didn't know anything about running paid Facebook ads for your business, now you do. Look forward to more marketing content in the future, and thanks everybody for listening.
Get up and
scale, baby. All right.
I gotta work, grind. That's just the way it is. I gotta get up, scale, and grow my biz. I gotta scale, grow.